Wanted to make another video here on some of the basic rules governing your muscle growth and use and exercise and so on. More details on this are on the podcast that I made. It's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher as well. Go check that out for more details, but here's the basic gist. When you are looking to build muscle, you have three main variables that you really got to dial in on. Don't get too caught up in like, okay, what kind of protein should I have after my workout and free weights versus body weight and blah. This stuff is all just little tiny nitpicky details. You want to focus on these three basic principles, because if you fulfill these three things, you're going to get bigger and stronger regardless of how you fulfill them. All right, so first we have time, okay? We have tension, and then we have recovery. More specifically, time under tension. All right, so what we're doing here is when we are engaging muscle, if you want to tell your muscles, they got to be bigger, they got to be stronger, think of like your muscles as a container. And when you are using a muscle, it's kind of like you're filling it up with tension, if you will. And the reason why this works is because when you are working out a muscle, you are essentially kind of depleting the amount of energy, the stores within the muscle in a given time. And depending on how much you deplete and how rapidly you deplete it, that's what effectively kicks in that survival mechanism, telling the body, okay, next time you fill it back up, when you recover, okay, fill it up just a little tiny itty bitty bit more in order to handle that situation better. And that's why you actually build muscle and get bigger, is you repeat this process over and over and over. So all of the workout stuff that we're all dealing with, you know, how many reps, how many sets, how many blah, 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 blah. All it really dials down to is how much tension is in the muscle and how long do I have it for. Now, here's why this is really important, is your muscles work through sliding filaments. Have you ever thought of like a slide rule? God, that's dated, but you know, you've got muscle fibers, and when you engage your muscles, actin and myosin filaments, they kind of slide along each other. That's what it's using the energy for. So when your muscle's elongated, it's like these things are stretched out a little bit. When you contract, you're engaging the fibers to slide and contract up together. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that when you engage muscle fibers, it doesn't really matter why they're engaging or the circumstances under which they are engaging, because a muscle fiber, it only has two settings. Your body is kind of like a computer. It's binary. You have off and you have on. That's all your muscle fiber knows. It's contracted or relaxed, contracted or relaxed. And when it's contracting, you are draining some of that energy. When it's relaxed, you can fill it back up and you begin your recovery process. And we get all upset and we get lost down the rabbit hole of like, how should we be contracted? Why should we be contracting it? You know, what kind of exercise is best? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. All that muscle fiber knows is I'm on or I'm off. And it really doesn't know if it's on because you're trying to stabilize on one leg, or if you're trying to lift something up, or if you're trying to run, or whatever. It really doesn't know, nor does it care. Nor should you really care to a large degree, because, you know, I've had people say, well, stability strength won't get you big and strong. You have to lift something. Seriously, it could isometric, stability, fast movement, slow movement. So what? Your entire primary purpose is building as much tension in the muscles for as long as possible, and then after that you recover. Now, of course, these two are an inversion to each other. The more tension you are under, you put a muscle under, the more fibers you're using, the more energy you're draining, and the faster you're draining it. So you can't do it for nearly as much time. However, if you have less tension, so it's an easier exercise, you can do it for a longer period of time because it's not depleting the energy nearly as quickly. Plus, you're kind of rebuilding it at the same time. I had this old video game back in the day where, you know, you get like your little power meter, and the way the game was structured was if you got like damaged, the power meter would decrease, but if it would subtly rebuild itself on its own. Well, your muscles are kind of the same thing. They have like a little power meter within them. So the more intense the tension is, the more tension you're filling into the muscle, the faster it depletes, so the less time you have, and basically you're depleting it quicker, and eventually that's what's going to say, oh my God, we can't deplete energy this quickly. We need to be able to build it up a lot faster. We need more of it. That's why we build. So yes, there are some types of exercise that aren't going to deplete it nearly as quickly, but it's relative. It's all in relation to your current levels of strength. You can build muscle with any kind of activity that causes muscular contractions. Running will build up your legs if you don't have enough of the energy stored in your muscles. Cycling, yoga, even just holding a pose will do it for you. It doesn't have to be like a dynamic exercise. It doesn't have to be a stable exercise. It doesn't have to be anything. As long as those muscle fibers are told to contract and they're depleting energy faster than they're used to, if you can recover, you get the proper sleep, you're eating well and stuff, you'll build muscle. It really doesn't matter how you're doing it. Of course, there are some ways that tend to lend themselves better to it. Higher tension as you get stronger. So this is where strength training comes in, because if you're just walking along, you're probably not using that much energy, so you can do it for a long period of time. But sprinting, I can only sprint for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Energy level, depletes really quickly, so you can't do it for a very long period of time. So whenever you're considering your workouts, like what kind of exercises, how should I structure it, reps, sets, tempo, pace, all that, all you gotta do is think, all right, what's it doing to the tension, the amount of total tension in the muscles? How long can I hold it for? So that's going to tell you how quickly you're depleting the energy. Depleting the energy to a good degree will tell your body, hey, you need more of this stuff. You need more of the stuff in the muscle fibers, and make sure your recovery is dialed in. Do it however the hell you want. Progressive calisthenics, kettlebells, weight machines, bands, lift small children, whatever. It really doesn't matter that much. But that's the basics right there. Let me know if you have any other questions on this. Hopefully this clears things up, or maybe it confuses the hell out of you. I don't know. Till then, be fit, live free.